to start with just the most awkward moment in LJL history.
What? Is this rock, paper, scissors?
No, wait,
ET?
wait.
Oh.
They're speaking the language of the gods. That's it.
And who knew it could be so cringeworthy? That was the new form of entertainment that is rock, paper, high five. And I'm not a fan, I have to say, of this new fad. I'm really not. But either way, that was Ebby and Steel having a bit of heart to heart there.
It's cringe synergy.
It is, and DFM this time around will be on the blue side. They've got Ebby in the top lane, Steel in the jungle, Seros in the mid lane, and Utapon and Gang are their bot lane as always.
And the first time on our broadcast today, it's AXIZ over on the red side. Unyan in the top lane, Hoglet in the jungle, Gadiaru in the mid lane, Hyde as bot lane, and Corporal as the team support.
And there's a couple pretty obvious bans that have come out. Elise and LeBlanc from DFM. We've kind of talked about it before. Last year as well, they would sub in Ramune to play LeBlanc, to play Zoe, which is their last ban, and two picks which Gary has looked very good on. Casteros doesn't play them all that well, apparently.
He's definitely not someone who likes to go towards them. He does love to go towards his Heimerdinger, which is a permanent benched champion on the ban list there, alongside Ebby's set, which would have been a nice first pick, and the Ornn as well, another one of those first pickable top laners.
Oh, they're flicking through this Yasuo again. They've been teasing me with it all day. I kind of want to see him pick it. First pick the Yasuo. Do it. I dare you.
I don't know. It is the Olaf coming through. Okay, alright. Steel had a bit of a rough game on that last time. Ebby with the thumbs up to the camera. He does that. That's his traditional little thing.
It is. And of course, Yuumi is unbanned. And that could mean we see a Yuumi second round here for DFM on the sort of that blue 2 pick. They're looking at potential Ezreal Yuumi response, though, I imagine, for AXIZ.
I think Ezreal Yuumi is, in isolation, a good lane in itself, and it would be a takeaway from the Olaf Yuumi. It might not end up being the best 2v2 against certain lanes, but it does stop that combo coming through. It's not actually going to get propped up as they're locking in the Lee Sin for Hoglet.
Well, there you go. Lucian being suggested here. That would be the first time we've seen DFM truly pick it up. If Ebby goes towards that, I could be more than sold on it.
I think it's better to keep it as a counter pick or a flex pick between the two lanes.
Yeah, of course.
At this point. I'm just not sure that Seros likes to go towards it. Senna is currently unpicked. That is often a first pickable champion. It was the Olaf from DFM and AXIZ passing up on that. So, it could be them for the second time in the day, picking the Senna somewhere down in the bot lane. We'll see who actually plays it this time, though.
Could just go straight towards the Tahm Kench here and lock in their whole bot lane. We'll see which one they go to. We did see the Nautilus last time around. It was not a bad look on Utapon, but it hasn't been his sort of stellar carry performances we've seen before.
I also think their composition got ridiculously outscaled.
Yeah, it did.
By the team. Ace kind of went to town on the LeBlanc, meant that a lot of their team had to either kill them in the first couple of seconds or die very slowly over the course of the fight. Sarah's going to pick up Syndra before the second round of bans. That's pretty important.
It is pretty important. And we're still thinking about that Lucian a little bit, so maybe there is something there we don't know about. But for now, hidden away, and Syndra is the return to Cyrus. He does look very good on that champion.
It's one of his best champions. And Yuumi is still left up. Corporal had a very good game on that when Hoglet played the Olaf himself in their victory over, I want to say it was the SoftBank Hawks. That was one of their real return. I think that was their first game where they turned the corner, actually. So this is a champion they found some mixed success on. Banning out the volley bear. Okay, so this is not a troll ban. It is actually very good with the Senna, not support the fasting Senna. It's really good into Yuumi as well, because if Yuumi hops off the champion, the Roar is an instant CC, which means that when she's in flight, you interrupt that instantly. It means that Yuumi is then stuck off of the champion. It's a good pick and a good ban.
Yeah, interesting there. I didn't know that was an interaction specifically with that Yuumi Senna Volibear combination that could have been pretty dangerous.
Well, Volibear's is in general good into Yuumi, but then with the Senna you get to build items too.
They missed a ban.
DFM missed a ban.
They didn't go for a ban there. They've left 1 free, which is a bit unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but it means that AXIZ might have something up there, or they just feel like they want to leave these up for a bit more space. I have to feel it's probably just a straight miss, though. Corporal on screen right now.
It could also be just leaving more champions up if they think they're going to trade power picks.
Yeah, and Nautilus taken away here as well. Yeah,
okay,
maybe.
So they missed their second ban. No, they have their second ban right now. We'll see if they choose to ban anything here. Because if they do, then I presume that it was a mistake.
Yeah,
I presume if they leave 2 bans and they say, okay, right, there are several champions available that we want available right now. Then...
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's an unusual situation that they do ban out the right. So yeah, just a missed ban. We've got to assume.
Maybe. I don't know. That's just so strange. I think that has to be a mistake. Although we'll leave it at that. So AXIZ now have the ability to pick up one of their 2 solo laners here and leave the other one for the counter pick. They pick up Echo. This is not the first time we've seen this from the LJL. First time from AXIZ.
And I think Echo alongside something like a Yuumi as well is not a bad combo. We've seen Lee Sin Yuumi specifically from over a Burning Core when Once and Proud ran rampant over a game using that combo. Yuumi that we normally sort of... The Olaf Yuumi is the poster child of that combination, especially from the jungle, but there are definitely other ways to make that pick look really damn good. Lee Sin, Echo, probably not bad carriers as we've seen before.
So, you know what I was saying last game about maybe getting some experience for Gang on stage for playing Senna so you could play it when it wasn't, you know, it wasn't tied up with the support. The Varus has been locked in for DFN. That means it's either going to be a Syndra or a Varus in the bot lane. I'm not jury's out on which one will go down there. They're picking the top laner last here. Will be a blind pick into that top lane as well.
Could see Aatrox being a pretty safe pick there. We've seen it a number of times, but actually
Hey,
going back to the Gnar. Ebby is so famous for this champion. We've not seen him play it yet, and I'm really happy to see him pull it out the last game.
This is Rock Lee from Naruto taking off the training weights. You know the thing where like he's been doing all this sparring stuff and then just drops the weights and just poof. He's taken off the training weights. He's going back to the old reliable, old faithful Gnar in the top lane.
Well, if training weights let him go 11-5 and nearly hard carry a game, I am terrified for the side of AXIZ. But they say,
skill matchup.
I am willing to fight this man without his training weights, and they've gone for the Camille into that.
And also,
Gnar.
Camille Yuumi is also terrifying.
Oh,
Camille Echo is terrifying. Camille Lee Sin. So the Yuumi Echo, Yuumi Camille, and well, all 4 members are really good Yuumi carriers here. So if Corporal and Hyde manage to survive the laning phase against this double poke lane, I would imagine it'll be Comet, and then also the regular lethality build out of the Senna means that AXIZ, if they come out of the laning phase, they're going to be really strong, but they need to survive it first.
And Nebby's going to have to be a little bit careful versus this Camille. Camille can definitely get on top of a Gnar with the hook shot, stun him in place, and Mini Gnar's base form has some of the lowest base stats in the game, and true damage from Camille can definitely punish that, especially with the stuns available to her.
Can do, but he actually has more damage than Mega Gnar in the longer trades because of the hyper procs. It's also mixed damage as well, because he mostly physical damage, but then the hyper is magic damage, means he can't itemize so effectively against it. And the other thing is, for Camille to win a lot of the skill matchups, she has to play aggressive. You play when your passive off cooldown, your hook shots off cooldown. If Olaf is there and you die when you're taking the aggressive trade...
Oh, mate, that's not great.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad.
And we have seen Dasher lose out to Olaf counter ganks on a Camille. Like, this is not something we've seen this in other games in the league.
That was on the Irelia, actually, that game.
Well, it was, of course, was he doing the Camille? It was the Camille into Aatrox.
I believe it was that, yeah.
I think Steel might have been playing Olaf in that game as well, possibly.
True, yeah.
So I think there's a couple games where we've seen this kind of thing get punished. Yeah, so either way.
The best junglers in our league, and this is actually our game, well, the official streams game of the week. So we get this nice little intro here with the man shouting at us.
Yeah, Vitamin D, ladies and gentlemen. The Hypnotoad isn't there. We get Japanese men screaming at us instead.
Yeah, well, instead of like ad breaks, it's like, oh, we'll be returning soon. Can we just have Hypnotoad? Production, can we do that? Can we have Hypnotoad?
No, because the game's on. And actually, it's not on because it's a pause.
The only response we got back was, you will enjoy the Hypnotoad. That's it. So I presume that's a yes.
Yeah. Either way, is Master Swan available? It would be good to have him here in the pause.
I am indeed here. I am watching. Yes, I did say we could do Hypnotoad. Whether we should do Hypnotoad is another question.
Well, maybe. Well, what we don't know is that actually Lexi is one of those boss fights with multiple stages. Eventually, he's just going to take off the mask, which is the masked swan. It's not a masked swan. It's a masked toad. He's actually been.
He is the Hypnotoad.
I am the Hypnotoad.
It's like you've heard of I Am Iron Man. Now it's I Am Hypnotoad. But yeah, everyone be afraid.
Maybe we ought to do a little bit of discussion about these drafts. I don't know. Or do we want to keep?
Oh yeah. What do you think of the drafts, Lexi?
Okay, so the Varus Senna lane is something that I'm far more familiar with in solo queue as opposed to actually seeing it in pro play. As you guys are back in,
it's okay.
So I'm just gonna
finish your point. Go finish your point.
I actually don't rate it because I like the Varus, or I like it with an Ashe. But to be honest, AD carry with a Senna I felt is so poor. Mostly because you lack a lot of engage, which is what bot lane is decided by either a AP mage engage or like a standard hook mage like Nautilus or Thresh or Blitz. But yeah, that's my closing thought as I bid you au revoir.
Okay, the mask goes back on. and he leaves us for now. Thank you for joining us.
Hypnotic.
Yeah, I just can't help but agreeing with him.
I know.
Yeah. So at least in this lane with the
Wait. Does that mean I'm right? Wait, I'll disappear again. I'll go. Bye.
So I think that in this lane, talking about the lack of engage, there is the chains of corruption. That is the main thing. There is a cleanse from the Ezreal though, which means it's pretty hard to really get on top of things. Can you mute yourself?
I did. Oh, there you go. It's all done. Game pause again. I had a slight Discord issue. That was a bit unfortunate.
I was hearing myself twice, and it was. We go through to the interview here, which means that we don't get to see all the lovely champions' faces, but we see some nice characters.
You just get to see my beautiful face again. It's okay. It's fine.
Are we on us now?
Well, we're on us again, yes, because pause, no pause, no pause. I don't know what's happening. It's technical problems that we can't learn about because none of us speak enough Japanese. Sam, Initialize would be our best bet.
Yeah, but my Japanese is not specific enough for League of Legends.
You know how to ask for the toilet. You know how to ask for the bill. You know how to say thank you and goodbye.
I've talked politics and philosophy one time. Too awkward. It was done.
Are they now wondering? Are they now wondering why you're like an anarchist?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. It was definitely an anarchic look at the Japanese language.
Yes, I support the culling of all children below 3. They annoy me too much. Is that what it came out?
I honestly have no idea anymore. I did a pretty good farewell speech in Japanese. I've got some good stuff. Yeah, it's a good. It's definitely fine, but there is a difference between sort of like generic farewell speech to like the in-depth minutiae of League of Legends.
And it would be this is the farewell speech to the regular season for DFM.
It is
their last game. So I guess maybe we can talk about some meta points. DFM obviously. I feel like we've kind of slept on them after they started the win streak a little bit because we were just expecting them to do well. How are your guys, talking about the holistic view of the split for DFM, what are your comments on that team?
I think their macro has continued to improve, like their 1-3-1s and that kind of, and also like their decision making, even at that game where they were behind in terms of the scaling, they still found ways to stay at least somewhat competitive, and that impresses me. I think they have played some of the 1-3-1s.
I'm sorry, I had to flick over. It looks like Ebby's just sleeping. He's like, screw it.
He's just like, AXIZ, I sleep. Worlds, I wake. Real stuff.
Real stuff.
I think you raise a really good point there, Initialize. Their macro has remained rather consistent. I think there are just a few members on the team that I'm now kind of getting like question marks. Most of that, surprisingly, would be around Steel and Seros, that mid lane duo. Steel has had some fine games, and he would actually be probably the best player on other teams. The problem is,
the split was so good from him.
Exactly. The problem is every other team has been stepping up, and certain players in certain roles have been stepping up. We can be like, Seros isn't the best mid laner. That's Arya. I'm sorry, but in my eyes, that is Arya. He's consistently performed.
But if you want to hear it officially, we'll do it on a podcast.
Unofficially official podcast.
Ooh, that's like our third plug. I'm impressed, guys.
We're really getting them in today.
I somewhat agree. I think Steel, even in these later weeks, has played pretty well. I think my issue is more being around that some of those level 1s have put him in awkward positions. And also, other junglers are also smart and also good. And, Boogie in that last game, it was an early temp dive on the top lane that was counted pretty swiftly. And that was, a good sort of heads-up play from V3 as a team. And I think sometimes DFM have been used to being a little uncontested. They get a little greedy around vision and rotations, and they have been punished once or twice.
So I just want to interject very quickly on my point for Seros before we continue going on. The reason I don't rate Seros as much is his champion pool, and
we've been alluding to that a little bit. I think all of us have been thinking it.
Yeah, it's weird because I went through and we were messaging this on our Discord, which you can find a link down below if you're interested in joining.
We're plugging so many things.
We're getting good at this today.
Need more sockets.
Seros never played any meta champions over spring and summer. Last year even, and last split as well, as Nymera said. His substitute did all of that for them, which is now Ramune, who's playing on Hawks, which sadly haven't made playoffs. So,
I don't think I think I contest meta because he does play some stuff like the Cassiopeia is quite popular the world over. Syndra obviously being a big pick as well. It's just that he doesn't play the hyper mobile aggressive picks like the Zoe and the LeBlanc. He doesn't play those, and I wondered that internationally because that is what we talk about with DFM. Even though they might not win playoffs, it's been a very competitive split so far. If he can't play the LeBlanc and the Zoe, and you come up against someone like the VCS mid laners, you come up against the LCL mid laners and the like, who can play these picks, or something like an Aurelia or something that can really abuse these low mobility mages, which he loves to play, what happens to the mid to jungle 2v2? Because that's a rock which they base a lot of their plays around.
True. Very true.
And then God forbid they hit a main stage, and then kind of people like Rookie, who just hit his 2000th kill today.
Faker, which hit it last couple of weeks.
And let's be real, Faker and Rookie are two of the best LeBlanc players in the world. Faker was notorious for it for years. Still is. I think he's undefeated currently this split. Rookie has a literal world skin for that champion. Like, these guys, you know, across the world, there's a number in NA, there's a number in EU who play those kind of picks exceptionally proficiently. And if you're kind of forced into banning them away rather than contesting them, that could be problems.
The caveat is, I think that Seros plays a lot of, like, 10 out of 10 teamfighting champions. Like, we saw his Heimerdinger alongside the Jarvan and alongside a Galio.
How many times have we seen his Heimer? I think it's only once or twice, right? Once.
It's been banned every other game. The presence of Heimerdinger in the LJL is purely due to Seros.
It was that V3 game. He gets to play in his first game. They're like, oh, no, panic. No, ring me a bell.
Oh, we're actually back into game.
We are
so
finally.
Closing thoughts for us, Lexi? Or...
I'm more excited to see how these bot lanes do. To be honest, I'm excited to see this.
Well, we shall see, and it is going to be an interesting bot lane. It's very heavy poke between a Senna and a Comet Varus once again. So we're going to see. We've seen more of the Comet Varus than regular Varus these last few days.
Ninja being the first to bring it out actually on Rascal Jester. We spent a lot of time talking about DFM in that break, and I think rightfully so. They have a lot to talk about. Of course, they're not the only players in this game. Cicadia are actually
good early trade.
Wait, there's Halo Blades Echo with an E-Star mid lane. That is some interesting tech there.
I am a fan of that. It does mean you can get on top of a Syndra as Echo, and we have seen this matchup a number of times, and Echo certainly has ways to outplay the Syndra, especially if she places her spheres in the wrong place, can't get the stuns around, you can dash over them like that.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. You still get to take the Domination Tree and the Inspiration Secondary, which does mean that you get a lot of the secondary runes that you do like on the Echo. The Keystone for Echo has been a little bit interchangeable as well. He is level 2 there. Man, I really like this, I have to say. We can already see there Seros losing a lot of HP up there. Unyan on the other side being pushed in by the Nart, and I love this fan vote down here. It's not just one-sided DFM. They came off a loss. They're winning here at 60% to 40 just about, but it's not like AXIZ are there without fans.
And the AXIZ fan group continues to grow. This team has become a little bit of a darling of the LJL, and they're doing pretty well. We're seeing some interesting tech come out. I think we are going to have to pay attention to. It feels like almost every lane has some scariness to it. This Utapon gang poke lane could be pretty obnoxious, but it's versus an Ezreal Yuumi who aren't exactly slow on a poke either.
Yeah, so what we saw there, but this is the thing, right? So if the last embrace from Senna lands, that is a free arrow, full charge arrow from the Varus. If the Chains of Corruption land, it's into the last embraces, into that. This is why the cleanse is so useful in this matchup. There's so little that you can do in it if the first CC lands, so it's good to clear that out.
Yeah, we're looking at Seros, who has managed to break his way back to full HP.
He's used both his pots for him.
He has used both his pots. But Gallardo as well is down. He has no corrupting potion left, and he's now taking the end of these poke trades. And now that Seros has got himself his QE combo and can sort of trade a touch more aggressively and Lily a little bit less afraid.
Okay, Hogler here to clear out the wave.
Yeah, it's probably not, but Steel's here as well. Maybe they can look for a counter because Gallardo is actually really low.
Oh,
it's a good start. Oh, Gallardo's in trouble. Has to flash away, but it's a flash forward by Steel.
Oh, the first gone!
Is it enough? No, Steel's there. He does get the first blood, but I think Hogler's going to try and turn it around. Is he going to get it? Yes, he does, but Steel's here and is so low. And of course, Olaf is low HP.
Oh my god!
Oh, that was clutch, but the way it is! Double kill to Hogler. The minion block was so real.
It was huge. A lot of minion damage there as well, because there must have been 5 or 6 different casters there. Probably doing more damage than the champions in terms of consistent damage after the auto attacks had all been landed there. Gallardo teleporting back into a half health trade already. Huge 2v2 from the side of AXIZ already. Does by AXIZ. The bottom side Scuttle Crab as well.
Yeah, what replay?
Okay, so basically Hoglet's here to clear out the wave, but then Gadiadu is sat here at pretty low HP, uses the Eater so he can't dodge out on the Scud of the Week, does flash out in that last Dark Sphere, Seros flashes into turret, takes 2 turret shots with the red buff ticking as well, and then it's kind of all she wrote for him. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 different range creeps and 3 melee creeps wailing on the Olaf here. He likes to be low HP for the extra damage, but you do need to stay above 0 there, Steel.
Yeah, that was close. Clutch flash from Hoglet. I liked the counter gank from DFM. It was just the smallest of margins that Dark Sphere didn't land that meant that Seros had to take all those turret shots. Otherwise, like, that could have very easily gone the other way around. But that does mean that actually Seros is probably up to an advantage and no single. He tried to sneak around Vision there, but is indeed on Vision.
Okay,
means
he's
that
not going for the gank. Right.
Yeah, Gang and Utapon do back away, but it means actually that the Vision control very heavily in AXIZ side now because they have that pink wall down. Going to try and interrupt backs, but Utapon is going to make sure that his support can get back at least.
So, massive early pressure from Hoglet so far on the Lee Sin. It was early picked up. It was in the first round, answering the Olaf from DFM. And I think he's showing that this pick has been worth it so far. For the first 5 minutes, he has been controlling the flavor of the game. Even though this Olaf has pushed him off a couple of times, we saw Steel very early into the game trying to look to see if he can seal away the wolves. Hoglet managed to get the better of that trade, pulling them out already out of the axe distance. Steel, however, going to try and take the initiative and take the first Drake. It just came out to 6 minutes though.
Olaf can do that. We talked about how, he does get a lot more damage at lower HP. Does go low doing this, but because the DFM are swift to it and they know where Hoglet is, means they get that one for free.
Heavy hit
level 6. He doesn't have much in the way of items though, and forces Uinyan back, who did get the first back and pick up the Sheen. Na will be wanting to go towards the Phage, but that's a touch more expensive than an item, so it did mean that Uinyan got the preferable back, but not the preferable trade, it turns out.
Not unfortunately there. Has the Sheen, which is really good when you start landing the auto attacks, but Nara is very good at starting to kite away from these ranged matchups. Well, the melee matchups.
We're going to see a dive though, especially because
Mega
has gone out of Mega Knight. He has no items yet. He's going to hop away. He is well aware about where people will be coming up, but that means some tower or some turret pressure.
I think it's fine. Steel might be here for a dive bot lane though.
Exactly. They've seen everybody top, so they're going to try to. That's the last embrace that did land. That means that's going to be a lot of damage onto Hyde. Getting punished there. Steel's going to walk out of the bush. Does miss the undertow, but just about. 2 dives averted, but that's going to be the end of all of this. Hoglet is going to take up the Skull Crab, and lots of vision control actually for Uinyan and AXIZ in that top side means that the Camille can push in relatively unimpeded right now if she wants to.
Yeah, for now, yes, there are 2 plates down in this bot lane already though, and the tune of 12 CS lead for Utapon on the Varus. As we said before, DFM playing the center in the support role. Well, Gang playing that center as the kind of the starving center before earlier in this game. Level 6 hit very early from DFM there.
Yeah, and it forces the cleanse straight away from Hyde, who hasn't run the teleport. It's kind of led to some nicer backs for Utapon and Gang. Come back at this point. It is Sheen for the Ezreal, but he has no tier. And actually, it's also serrated Dirk and lots of long swords for both Utapon and Gang. Means that their poke hits like a truck right now.
Yeah, and we see arrow hits, the piercing shadow, the piercing darkness hits as well. Corporal popping forward there. No skill shots hit, no threat though.
Yeah, Hoglet did look for the lane gank, didn't land though, so it's all done for now. Seros hiding in a bush, but that's a good parallel convergence. Seros is out of it though. Walked the long way out of that.
Yeah,
was a little bit nervous.
I think he might have been trying to.
Good Mega Nara stopping the hook shot in there.
Well, I think hook shot actually landed, which is why he took the extra tower shot there. But it ends up being a decent trade for him anyway. As we talked about a little bit on previous broadcasts, Nar's ultimate is actually really low cooldown, which means that you do tend to use it every time you have the Mega Nar transformation, even if it's for menial stuff like a random stun, a little bit of trading, or a minion wave clear.
And it does give him a fairly big HP lead as DFM continue to shove in this bot lane, looking more and more unfavorable for AXIZ.
It's getting worrying there because this Ezreal is not going to be strong. The first turret's going to go down pretty much isolated there. Gadiadu is doing fine in this Syndra matchup, but even right now, he does jump back in.
Has to chrono break, has got his flashback up though at least, so he does get away. Uinyan and Hoglet here trying to find this Gnar who just clears out a ward. He's going to back around safely to his way. No, he's going to turn to Mega Gnar and wander in and put a ward down himself, but no gank coming forwards. And we were a bit worried about this bot lane potentially for Utapon and Gang, but the poke of the Varus and the Senna has been more than enough to win them first turret, actually.
It has been. It's at 9 minutes. That's very early into the game, which means that this Varus will be able to go somewhere else on the map. This is kind of nasty now because, oh, there's no ult available from this Echo here. One more Q could kill him.
He's thinking, but if he lands it, oh, that's close. Yep. Had to flash to avoid that Dark Sphere, he would have died.
Absolutely would have done. There was nothing left there from Gadiadu. He might have been able to flash into him and kill him with the tower shot available to him.
The bait still gets over.
Oh, the flash away.
And now he finally gets on, but it means he's not stunned, can put out a lot of damage, and Steel's going to be here. He's got the Ragnarok. Hoglet is so low. He does get healed up as well by a Dawning Shadow. Gratefully turned over, and it's going to be double over for this top lane jungle duo.
This is looking pretty bad for AXIZ now. They're losing the early game pretty consistently across the board. This is the tune of 3,000 gold leads side of DFM. Ebby is ahead in this nullifying matchup against the Camille, who will find it much harder to split push in this game. Seros is doing very well on the Syndra as well, not been denied any farm or been killed all too much, besides the first 2v2. And the bot lane of DFM. This is 3 winning lanes and an Olaf. That is a nasty combination for any kind of competition to deal with. When you've got 4 melee champions on the team, it makes it even harder for AXIZ. So this is bad for them. Yeah. Very, very bad.
There is fairly limited wave clear outside of a good time winder, outside of a decent precision protocol, but that means they have to step forwards, right? And you can get punished versus a lot of this poke, which is going to be at a pretty monumental level from 2 lethality champions who are very happily scaling.
But we see Echo here, right? He can kill the backline with 1 time winder, but he needs 2 to really clear out the wave, and he won't have time to do that because he doesn't have cleanse, right? He doesn't have a cleanse, he doesn't have a QSS, which means that if the last the last embrace, not last shadow, that's Alice, or the Chains of Corruption land, this Echo could be dying in the duration of the season.
Is it last shadow? Of course, I've heard so many different things at this point. I thought he was
Leandry Salesman.
Yeah. LJL Shoutcaster. He's definitely one of
LS, aka looking somewhere else, not watching the LJL right now, which he should be doing.
He should be doing.
He should be doing. It's great.
Okay. Either way, back to this game. I think there is something to be said as well for DFM, who've now looking a lot more confident on these picks, right? They are winning lanes. Yeah. Seros is in a much more comfortable matchup. He's looking, was getting kill threat even onto Gadiadu, who was forced out, is now down 20 CS, 15 CS. Similar leads across the board for all of the lanes.
And as much as Hoglet had a really good early game, did win that mid TV2 and get some pressure across. So we see the cleanse forced out.
But that last embrace lands afterwards. One leads into the other. You can cleanse one, but not both. Could get very threatening for this Ezreal.
Well, it just means that because Ezreal never has the cleanse, he can't play aggressively, and you need to play aggressively here. I'm not sure that Unyan wins this.
He's only on a Sheen, and Steel is pretty strong with a completed Warrior. It's not a Cinder Hulk this time.
Oh, so much damage!
Mad damage!
Mad damage indeed, and mad is exactly the amount you need to kill Unyan on... I was going to make it... I don't know, I didn't know where I was going with that. But it is mad damage indeed, and it is more than enough to kill off Unyan in the Camille here. And look, I'm not the perfect caster. Sometimes my references go very much awry, much like the early game here. 12 minutes in from AXIZ. Ebby pushing up to the inner tower in bot lane. Never mind that, there are still plates on the outer turrets across the map, but they don't care. They're going for an inner turret.
And the Rift Herald out as well.
It's pretty bad for
Seros is here 1v1. I'm not sure he wants this. He's going to try and get something on the Hoglet. He gets solo.
Oh, he's got the aggro.
Oh, he's just about going to survive. Yes, he does. Man, that was close, but it required a little bit of quick thinking from AXIZ. But once again, DFM getting caught out under a tower. A little bit too aggressive to play 3 lanes, but it means that this mid lane tower goes down without much recompense. It
also means they're going to get a second charge from the Herald here. With a massive wave, they probably get the tower too. Maybe? No, they're backing off right now. Okay.
Yeah, they're a little bit afraid about where...
The wave was dying too quickly.
Yeah, dying a little bit too quickly. But most of that mid lane tier 2 does go down. Ebby has a free push in this bot lane with Steel here as well. Yeah. It was the punishment, the penance for going for that
Demolish
kill.
Takes the tower as well. This is the full court press from DFM. And the worst thing for AXIZ is that arguably they don't even outscale. They need to have strong individual advantages on some of their carries. Gadiadu is close to having that against Seros, who's actually gone for the double pen very early for a high burst build on the Syndra, trying to stave off some of the threat from the Echo here. But the Echo is, he's doing pretty well for himself, but you can't contend with, 4 or 5 members at the time. You do need to give yourself an isolated 1v2 or a 2v2 with Hoglet. That's not going to happen when DFM have the pushing lanes across every lane.
No, and it's all, we've seen, that one there, yes, they got Seros, but they didn't get the tower. They lost a mid lane tower. They lost a top bot lane tier 2. They had to commit so much, so I can sort of understand why Seros was almost daring them to come and dive him a little bit, because they lost so much for it. On the other hand, at least AXIZ got something out of it, right? They are getting gold onto people who can have some agency, have some playmaking in a side lane.
You know what's terrifying now, though? You have double Umbral Glaive from the bot lane of DFM. They are going to clear out every ward which AXIZ wants to play around, and they do want to be jumping out of vision quite a lot. Wow. They did just manage to have a ward there, but as you can see,
trying
it's
to
got
fire,
already. They're going for the Yumi.
He got a lot of damage onto
Gadiado's
this Berserker. Taking a lot of damage. He's going back in. Tries to get a lot of healing. Puts a lot of damage down before he gets killed off. Utapon does get chunked, but everybody is here, and the health bars are desperately low for Gaio, who has to chrono break back. But Ebby's here, flashing away with after the E. Seros in a 1v3.
Oh, Hyde's dead.
But that's a great Dawning Shadow, and Hoglet now flashing away. Seros doesn't go down because the piercing darkness keeps him alive. Uinyan goes down. It's a double for Gang, who's looking very good on this Senna once again. 1 for 2, and so much burn by AXIZ. Everybody burns in Flash.
It does, and Ebby is just here bullying out Hoglet out of his own jungle. No, it's not your jungle anymore, not when you've lost every tower on the out lane as this top one goes down. This is going from bad to worse again for AXIZ as they try and make a play to break the flow of the game, and it goes horribly wrong.
Okay. I like the attempt by AXIZ, but they lost so much from it. They are down. They lost the first Rift Herald. They're down 2 Drakes. We go into this replay. I thought it was an okay start. Actually, Steel got chunked out so hard.
Yeah, he did. And Gadiadu gets very quickly onto Utapon here as well. I actually wonder if he should have gone straight towards the Olaf there, just finish off that fight and back off. Double teleport challenge from the solo laners of DFM. Seros very strong at this point, as is Ebby. Gadiadu forced to ult backwards by a very good sharp shot there from Utapon. The back of the fight goes very badly wrong as well, as Gang gets a 3 and a untargetable kitty ultimate there. Unyan trying to go forward for the kill into Seros. Commits his flash and dies anyway, though.
Yeah, it is the lady with the literal death lasers, kind of redeeming, as is her role, redeems the side of AXIZ for, I think the thing is, she's called the Redeemer. Is she just like, I think the problem is that she views opposing teams as sort of coupons that need to be redeemed.
Oh, yes.
Redeemed for golden items back at the local store. Seros gets taken by a good Sonic Wave that was over the wall. That was really nice from Hoglet. Seros caught completely by surprise. Thought he was fine. Thought he was off vision, but that was nice from Hoglet.
Honestly, the play from the junglers that we've seen so far today so Steel's had some great moments, even though in the first game he was largely outplayed. Boogie had a huge game.
AXIZ! Hyde does survive by just about the back seat of his Hyde. Getting a little bit tanned there, so to speak, as Steel starts at Rift Herald number 2. But let's kind of go back to Gadiadu taking out Seros alongside Hoglet and Yuumi. That was nice combination stuff going on.
Absolutely was. At this point in the game, I'm pretty sure that Steel 1v1's in. Yeah, we saw it before with the Complete Warrior. He's going towards a very early Black Cleaver as well.
Yes, he is.
I don't know, man. I think AXIZ, unless there is just an incredible objective steal at some point into a full team ace, I don't see how they win this game. DFM are stacking Drakes. It's a Mountain Soul, so it's not even like the semi-useless soul of the Cloud Drake as well, even though in this game when you have an Olaf it's still very good as well. I don't know, man. I'd like to say, this is how AXIZ wins a team fight. Not really sure that's applicable at this point. I think you can get picks. Winning a team fight is going to be such a hard ask.
Well, let's see where we can find some playmaking. I have some faith in Hoglet and Corporal. They found a couple good flanks at this point. The Lee Sin is strong, and there are some squishy people. If you can get onto Utapon, if you can get onto Gang, if you can get onto both, even potentially blow them up, there is a room to win that fight. I think Camille will scale pretty well, but they've got to get to that point.
But he's also 2 levels down on Nah, who's already built up a Black Cleaver.
Oh my days, Olaf's completed his as well.
Yeah, so there's double Black Cleaver completed, massive item spikes to the side of DFM, and they get to choose when and where the fights happen. They have the tools to start engages. So DFM we have seen be such a good shot calling team as well, probably the best in the LJL, all things said and done. That's why they're at 11-2 amongst other things. And I don't know, I think that right now they are just so comfortable. They don't have to play the game fast, but if they want to, they can too.
60 souls for Senna, so not massive amounts at this point, but it hasn't really needed to be because she's farmed enough kills at this point to be at decent item thresholds anyway.
Yeah, it's a useful champion, right? Honestly, like just as long as Senna's ult and the last embrace are there, I'm pretty sure that they're happy. Like that's it. You don't need the rest of the champion. That's it.
No. And actually, it is a double lethality item complete for Varus. It's a lethality item plus the Umbral Glaive plus that's Serrated Dirk for the Senna. Very strong stuff. And actually, with the double Black Cleaver, any additional armor that would be stacked with Steel and Ebby able to get rid of that very quickly means that the poke from Varus and Senna is going to hit very hard whatever you
The thing is that Olaf is going to be free hitting on the backline anyway when he's going in, right? Because no one's going to be able to delete him particularly quickly. And then with the Senna Q and ult coming in as well.
18 minutes and the Rift Herald's used to break the base open.
It is. It's not going to be quite an inhibitor down, but it is going to be a lot of pressure on these turrets. It might even be both turrets. And Hoglet looking for a play Doesn't have flash available to him for the next couple of seconds, though.
Like, it's been kills traded, but not objectives, really, outside of the one Mountain Drake, which Hoglet managed to secure. AXIZ are bleeding out.
Hoglet's going for Seros again.
But that's a good backstep. But Seros is now in trouble. They are desperately going on him. That's a good unleashed power, but the heal is big. Seros did get finally caught out there, but it's going to cost them another turret, I think.
It will do. So that's not the first time that Seros has been caught out this game. Bit of an awkward game for him on the Syndra. There's Abby going in there on against Hyde.
And actually, the goodbye Echo
is dead.
Just deleted by levels of poke and an undertow on top of it. And they had to commit so much to getting on top of Seros that they lost their inhibitor turret anyway. And they're going to lose an inhibitor on top of it. AXIZ and Hoglet and Corporal all doing their best to kind of stave off the sustained assault. It is 8k in the lead at 19 minutes. They're in the base with 2 inhibitors down.
This is on pace to be the fastest game of the LJL as Gang just gets away from the True Shot barrage there. DFM started the split off super strong versus V3 and then AXIZ in the same day as well. They're ending the split against V3 and AXIZ as well. V3 obviously did not go to the same tune as the one in week 1. This game though is very much in their favor. I can't see them not closing out this game, even with Seros going down for his 4th death. It is a little bit hard against this composition with the Lee Sin and the Echo both being able to get on top of you. But, you know, it could be going a bit better.
Yeah, I think it's also, we've talked about Syndra before in other casts, where Syndra, by herself, pushed up in a long lane, and that mid lane at this point is a long lane, can get punished, and we know that Lee Sin, Camille, Echo, and Yuumi have got ways to get in behind a Syndra.
Oh, and Ezreal, right?
And that's, exactly. So I think it's not entirely unsurprising that Seros has been the focus, but, and yes, perhaps he could be playing a bit safer. I think that's probably fair to say. But on the other side,
I think it's more of a lane assignment thing.
Yeah, I think that's a lane assignment thing where he's kind of trying his best to backstep. But there's only so much Syndra can do. Yeah. Either way, though, has got himself a GLP against a number of champions that are going to want to be in melee. I think that item makes a lot of sense. It'll keep some of the pokes safe if they do decide to group up as they push towards the last remaining inhibitor turret. It's 21.5 minutes. I don't think at this point they're going to beat V3's 23-minute game, but if they can get a fight here, it could
one more fight, and they can just ride a wave of super minions into the Nexus, though. And you know what? I'm kind of sad about this game because we won't get to see too much of the dark tech from this Ezreal. Not the Ezreal, the Echo, who's building towards a Nash's Tooth. There's a fight happening now.
Hoglet just goes down. He's the one. He's had to build damage, and that damage means that he is prey to all the poke. Another bit lands from the QE of Syndra. This siege comp is obnoxious. Now it's grouped up.
It is indeed. Well, it's pretty obnoxious in the first place before they managed to group up. Gadiadu diving onto Ebby, but it's going to be at the cost of the tower. They try and get a play somewhere, just not working out for them.
Last Embrace lands again, and this might be the last we see of Camille. She's gone down. It's 2 people dead. It's 22 minutes on the clock. DFM are looking to make this the fastest game. And a statement as another one goes down. Another one bites the dust, this time to the unleashed power. They are going to try and end it. It's 22.5. I think they have it. Fastest game of the split. Last game from DFM, looking to redeem themselves after their first game of today. At least Gariano picks up a pride kill at the end, but another Gnar ult is just going to be it. I think the Nexus is going down. It's not even 22 minutes. 40 goes down. DFM with a statement. These guys are looking to win the whole thing still.
They absolutely are. After a shaky game 1 of the day here, it is DFM that come out as a 1-1 team in their final week 7 of the LJL Spring Split 2020. Maswan, you joined us for a little bit at the start of the game. Now with the whole game complete, good game from DFM, huh?
Well, fastest game. That's a pretty good game for them to have. Did they have like a table reservation or something? Did they need to hurry that one up so quickly? That was over before it even started. Well played by DFM. 22 minutes and 42 seconds is the final time. Fastest game of the LGL, as you both were saying. Unexpected. And the rather sad thing I have to say, because it is a fact, and I am a sort of a fact man, AXIZ have participated now in both of the fastest games.
I think this game was not hopeless, though. I mean, like, you look at the first 2v2 in mid lane, I think Gadiado and Hoglet had actually a really good game on the whole. I like this Echo build. We have seen a lot more Nash's Tooth cropping up in solo queue, normally from the jungle, not necessarily the mid lane. But after the Echo, jungle nerfs is kind of moving around. Then the Halo Blades allows you to just wail on them with those auto attacks. The game was already over by the time he built that item though, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, and like I kind of want to go on from that as well because
Did you say you're gonna echo that?
I nearly did, but I've said that quite a lot anyway, and I can't commit to that level of a low-hanging pun. It's got to be better than that. We'll have to rewind and think of another one at some point. See, there we go, better. But Hoglet, Corporal, we talked about that Lee Sin Yuumi combo about getting in behind people, and they did find some good kills. But that's what it was. It was good plays, but every time they did, the unrelenting pressure from DFN meant that they literally traded, I think nearly every time, at least 2 objectives up.
Huge.
Look at the end of the game. It's 11 turrets to 2. It's 2 Drakes to none. Or 2 Drake to 1. It's both Heralds to none. Like, that kind of level of objective dominance and kind of full court press. 1-3-1 pushed very hard. I mean, Serral's got punished for it to an extent, but the trades were never worth it. You were getting kills, but nothing out of the end of it, really, for the side of AXIZ.
Okay. Yep. Normally, I guess. No, okay. Yes.
Oh no, sorry. I was just. I was so
waiting for our host.
I was normal. I'm so used to Nymera coming in. I'm just like. And then you were just entranced, and I'm just like, oh yes. Well, So
the other point, which
DFM did good.
They did do very well. This is also a little bit scary for AXIZ now, who, if they lose the next game, which will be against CGA for them, they have to go into a tiebreaker versus Burning Core. I believe that is how it would go.
That is how it is to go, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if AXIZ lose, or if AXIZ win and then CGA lose their next game and go 0-2, we will have a tiebreaker. Tiebreakers are fun, but they are just incredibly tense for the teams involved. AXIZ, it would be such a shame from everyone's perspective if the Cinderella story happened with just the biggest of heartbreaks. But that is what is on the cards. If they lose against CGA, that is something which could happen.
Yeah, and CGA is going to be that matchup we will be seeing after the break. I do want to hand it over to Initialize for any of his closing thoughts, as unlike when Nymera was on the cast and I'd completely forgotten the fact that he was departing from us, and I feel incredibly poor about this, so I am apologizing on stream about it.
Fine. It's not. He's actually really hurt on the inside.
Well, that's why my apology's happening right now, regardless if he's hurt or not. It doesn't matter. I've done it. Initialize, as you are now departing from us, have you got any few words for us about these games, about what you're expecting, anything else?
I think AXIZ shouldn't take this game loss too hard. I think we saw some moments of brilliance from them, even in this quite aggressively fast loss. And I think they can take that confidence into their game versus CGA. We've shown that Yoshi, in particular, has been punishable early, and Hoglet and Corporal and Gariari with some of the good roams can definitely find a way in underneath CGA's defenses.
Sure.
And I think they've still got a lot of hope to be in this playoffs. DFM on the other side, it's a one-on-one week. We saw one game where they tried some stuff out and it looked a bit awkward. This game they kind of returned to comfort with pretty resounding success. So I have a lot of hope for them coming into the playoffs, and other teams still need to be very scared of this.
Can I just get your thoughts about the whole end of where we are now with week 7 and the end of our first spring split as you are departing? I want to get your kind of thoughts, as me and Nymera will probably have our opportunity with full results. So we'll be able to be like, haha, Initialize was so stupid.
I know, right? This was way closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a competitive split, but I thought we were going to have a fairly linear divide between a top tier, a mid tier, and a bot tier. And we've kind of had the top 1 for DFM, and then it's been everybody else.
Sure.
No one has actually out and out sucked, which has been a big thing. We've seen a lot of win conditions for teams. We've seen a lot of good plays from pretty much every team. We've seen some bad plays from every team.
And we've seen streaks from every team as well, right?
And it has come down to the wire. It's coming down to the last 2 damn matches, and that's been brilliant to watch. And I am a little sad I'm not going to be able to see the results kind of pan out.
He'll be up to date, don't
the
worry.
Story of nothing else. I've been in love with that story of nothing else, and that's been really cool to watch them come out from, we assumed nothing, to potential heroes. We've seen Ray Farkey on Darius be brilliant and awful at the same time. We've seen the Hawk, Ramane, and Tussle return and do great things, and also be kind of bad. We've seen Segok Gaming turn it around. Like, every team has been interesting.
The Adia and Gango show. The 3 teams in this kind of tiebreaker scenario, all of them have had fantastic moments.
They really have.
Far none. So it'd be sad to see one of them go out either way.
And with that all said...
Be spicy. There you go, my last words.
Ooh, keep it nice and spicy. And with that said, we will be having a very short break, but before that, when we come back after that break, we are going to be seeing AXIZ face off against Crest Gaming Act for the LJL Officially Unofficial's Game of the Week, because that's how much is on the line for this game. We want the most hype game where literal playoffs will be decided. We are going to be excited to see you right after this break. Thank you so much for watching.